This whole situation has been super tense lately. A major drug bust linked to Detroit went down early in the morning. Federal teams hit multiple spots, turning quiet streets into crime scenes. They kicked in doors, tackled suspects, and found rooms packed with drugs, cash, and weapons. Records that were never meant to be seen are finally out. IC agents, FBI, HSI, and D teamed up for a major operation, not just chasing rumors. They hit a criminal network hiding behind legit businesses. What they found before dawn is just the start of a much bigger story. Floodlights blaze on at the Illinois warehouse, cutting through the chilly darkness and turning the yard into a glaring white space. Federal teams moved in from all sides, boots crunching on gravel as they quietly communicated. The building seemed ordinary, like a place for storing tools, but something big was happening inside. Spare parts. Yet, the pressure in the air made it clear that this structure was about to reveal something far more dangerous than its clean walls suggested. The first breach came fast, not with chaos, but with control, as cutters bit into metal and forced the main access point open just enough for entry teams to surge inside. Agents moved low and wide, weapons raised but steady, eyes sweeping across open space as shadows retreated into corners. The echo of boots against concrete filled the warehouse, blending with the hum of generators and the sharp click of safety switches, creating a soundscape that conveyed training and intent rather than panic. Inside, the front section initially appeared to be legal with stacked crates, clear walkways, and printed labels that describe agricultural equipment and industrial supplies. Pallets sat in neat rows wrapped in clean plastic, each marked with shipping codes and weight limits that matched the paperwork found at the entrance. For a brief moment, the space almost resisted suspicion, presenting itself as another forgettable node in a long supply chain that moved unnoticed across the country. That illusion broke the instant agents reached the far bay, where forklifts sat powered down beside equipment far too specialized for routine storage. Panels along the floor did not align evenly, and faint seams traced lines where solid concrete should have been uninterrupted. One agent knelt and struck the surface with a tool, producing a hollow sound that carried across the room and drew immediate attention from the rest of the team. Orders moved quickly, and the floor section was lifted to reveal a second level below, wide enough for workers to stand upright and reinforced to support heavy loads. Hidden lighting flickered on, exposing a lowered space lined with steel shelving and reinforced walls built not for storage convenience, but for concealment. Air vents ran separately from the central system, suggesting long-term use and careful planning, not a temporary solution or rushed modification. Further inside, agents uncovered sealed compartments tucked behind false walls, each one accessible only by sliding mechanisms triggered from hidden switches. These compartments housed equipment designed for speed and volume, including industrial mixers, sealed drums, and packaging tools capable of handling large-scale processing. Nothing in this area suggested street-level dealing or small-time movement. Instead, it pointed to an operation designed to supply entire regions without interruption. As teams moved deeper, the scale of the warehouse changed in perception, shrinking as its purpose expanded. And this was not just one storage point among many, but a core junction where shipments paused, were divided, and then sent onward clean labels and with proper legal documentation. Every feature of the layout supported that role, from reinforced loading bays to private access routes that allowed trucks to arrive and leave without crossing public view. Agents marked each discovery carefully, tagging doors, switches, and access points while additional teams secured the perimeter, while armored vehicles stood by, engines idling, ready for any escape attempts. Nothing happened, showing just how confident the builders were. In one sealed area, agents opened containers wrapped like farm supplies, only to find white powder vacuum sealed in heavy plastic, stacked neatly. Blocks that filled the space from floor to ceiling. Nearby crates held compressed packages marked with false serial numbers, each one identical in size and shape, designed for easy transport and rapid distribution. Further searches revealed additional substances stored separately, each categorized and labeled for movement rather than immediate sale. Chemical containers lined the back wall, their markings indicating industrial use. Yet the quantities and combinations made their true purpose unmistakable. These materials were not end products, but the building blocks of something far larger. The raw ability to produce vast amounts of drugs without reliance on external suppliers. The warehouse had been built to function without pause, and every detail reinforced that truth. Backup generators stood ready to power operations during outages, while separate water lines fed cleaning stations designed to erase traces of activity between shipments. Surveillance equipment monitored every entrance and interior zone, feeding data into a system that could be accessed remotely, allowing oversight even when the space appeared dormant. As agents cataloged the scene, it became clear that this location represented more than stored contraband. It was the brain of a logistics network valued at roughly $1 billion, a place where planning replaced improvisation and efficiency replaced violence. The absence of gang markings or defensive barricades only reinforced that assessment, showing a preference for blending in rather than standing out. This was not a warehouse meant to. The operation tried to stay under the radar, relying on routine and trust, thinking paperwork would keep it safe, but that plan crumbled fast. Before dawn, evidence trucks rolled out, guarded and loaded with crates and gear that would never come back. The floodlights stayed on, casting a harsh glow. As agents wrapped up their sweep, the once quiet hub was now exposed as a key player in a vast criminal network. Stretching far beyond Illinois, this warehouse was the heart of it all. And what they found inside revealed the dangerous materials fueling it. The next part dives into what those substances were meant to unleash. The room buzzed with agents working on seized tablets and encrypted phones. Each device was carefully placed on foam pads while fingers flew over gloves, connecting cables and lighting up screens. When the first lock broke, the atmosphere shifted. No cheers, just intense focus as folders spilled secrets that had never seen the light of day. Outside was building, and pursuit lines were forming rapidly ahead without hesitation. Now, data carved a path across oceans as logs aligned and timelines stacked with ruthless clarity. Asian factories appeared first, masked by trade codes and clean invoices, followed by ports where containers waited under watchful surveillance cameras. From there, the trail jumped south into Mexico, shifting vehicles, switching crews, and slipping through checkpoints by routine. Each handoff showed planning, not impulse, with schedules were tight and payments were timed. Agents tracked every move live, pushing teams into action as routes lit up. Money flowed through shell companies, opening and closing accounts effortlessly, moving quietly across cities and borders before settling down. It was all about keeping things smooth and under the radar. Transfers froze when warrants were served, and new paths tried to open but failed. Encryption didn't slow things down because patients were already ahead. What we saw was a business acting like a global powerhouse, ready to adapt under pressure. Soon, arrest orders spread across cities as clarity increased. Offices buzzed with activity as teams rushed into apartments and garages, securing evidence before it vanished. Phones buzzed and then went silent. Each location revealed the same story. With different names, units moved like clockwork, leaving a quiet aftermath behind as they swiftly gathered crucial evidence. Decisions were made fast across regions, keeping the momentum going all night. Attention turned to shipping lanes, where patrols tightened and vessels were flagged for inspection. Boarding teams moved smoothly, securing crews and opening containers that looked ordinary but held hidden drums. Each seizure cut future production, and it wasn't by chance, removing capability at its source. A choice that carried weight far beyond the immediate catch. Sea control added pressure that land arrests alone could never achieve, while routes collapsed silently under watchful, coordinated eyes from afar. Today, inside command rooms, maps are updated in real time, showing lines cut and nodes blinking out. Calls flowed without drama, directing teams to seal, search, and secure the area. The pace remained deliberate, avoiding both rush and noise. Success depended on denying reaction time rather than chasing speed. By keeping pressure constant, the operation prevented regrouping and forced choices that favored capture. It felt less like a chase and more like tightening a net, steady and patient. Every decision leaned toward containment and control. Teams adjusted their positions calmly as information arrived in waves without pauses or confusion, despite mounting pressure from all sides simultaneously. Across borders, cooperation followed a similar rhythm, linking efforts without. Requests were handled quickly and approvals rolled in smoothly, allowing for coordinated actions worldwide. Warehouses were sealed, accounts locked, and couriers intercepted with ease. Each step tightened the noose for anyone still moving products, showing that teamwork can outsmart barriers without needing brute force. The night was tense but quiet, with arrests happening under a shared command. Surprise and timing kept resistance low. Teams moved in close, making sure options were limited. No shots were fired, but every door opened and space cleared added to the weight of the moment. The picture across screens showed no open conflict, proving control can overwhelm without a show. This calm focus let pressure build everywhere before dawn. By morning, the evidence was clear. Tallies rose, routes vanished, and the biggest takeaway? The powerful absence left behind. Traffic's gone quiet and operators are left scrambling. Schedules are broken and communications gone silent. The network's in chaos, making mistakes a given. Control is now the name of the game, leaving everyone feeling exposed and unsure about what to do next as oversight tightens across the country. Today, land and sea actions merged into a seamless pursuit. Each arrest boosted intel for the next move, building momentum. Teams kept cool under pressure, focusing on certainty over speed. This strategy limited escapes and revealed a hidden system that looked ordinary but had a far reach. It really reduced risk. Teams kept moving steadily toward their goals, staying focused and disciplined. Every secured spot helped reduce uncertainty for those still moving goods. The night showed how to take control without making a scene, proving that sometimes it's all about strategy over sheer force. Teams played it cool, using patience to stay in control by taking their time. They avoided mistakes and kept the upper hand as the map cleared. This approach discouraged any retaliation and helped maintain steady pressure until resistance faded away, all under careful watch throughout the night. What was revealed wasn't chaos, but a well-designed network that thrived on order. The response brought even more order, applying pressure where it counted. This phase ended with roots exposed and control established, paving the way for the next part, where we'll dive into the materials and sources to understand how danger was created and why it matters. The night didn't end after the first raids. Operation Reclaim America was just getting started. Across several states, phones buzzed as teams got ready to move. Orders flowed smoothly. No shouting or panic, just focused action. This wasn't a one-off. It was a planned surge to take down every layer, keeping the network alive. It was intense. Teams moved in sync across the country, taking control with calm precision. They swept through buildings, securing rooms and grabbing phones and documents. Every address matched up, every name linked to payments and routes. While one crew cleared a spot, another was already on the move, cutting through the chaos. Rests were piling up fast, hitting over 600 by dawn. It was one of the most organized efforts ever, with teams working nonstop across the country. Logistics were intense. Trucks were stopped, yards sealed, and routes closed. Drivers faced lights and orders to step out, while keys were collected and logs checked. Forklifts sat idle as paperwork fell apart under scrutiny. Each delay shook the network, forcing choices that led to capture. By targeting movement, the operation disrupted the routine that kept illegal trade low-key for years. Meanwhile, teams froze accounts and secured records before alerts could spread, keeping federal forces in control across regions. Everyday scenes were actually buzzing, with agents copying files, counting cash, and locking down computers. Every click squeezed the money flow. Couriers were left hanging as transfers stalled. The goal: cut off the cash that pays for everything. Without cash, control slips away, and dependence becomes painfully clear. The operation rolled on into the early hours, with teams moving fast and efficiently. They showed up at homes and workplaces, guiding people outside. Some looked confused, others resigned. But each detention broke connections and slowed communication. Every person taken out changed the game for everyone else, leading to mistakes. By sunrise, custody counts told a story of reach, showing a campaign built to deny leadership and direction at every level simultaneously through planned timing and shared intelligence between units nationwide. At sea, pressure matched land actions as vessels were slowed and directed for inspection. Decks were secured, crews lined up, and holds open under steady lights. Containers revealed materials intended for production, not immediate sale. Each seizure cuts future capacity. Operations stayed smooth by reducing risks ahead of time. Authority presence at sea made it clear that no routes were safe. This careful approach ensured the response matched the threat, without unnecessary drama. Even with the impact, the network didn't just collapse all at once. Signals shifted instead. Routes shifted and structures splintered into smaller parts. Teams noticed new paths opening while old ones closed. Encryption popped up again, slowing access but not stopping it. Damage was done, but the system adapted, using legal tricks to stay under the radar. Pressure needs to stay constant to keep things in check. Recovery takes time and needs multiple enforcement units working together. Modern crime isn't about loud gunfights, it's about quiet systems that blend in. It's all about logistics and data, not visible violence. The response focused on infrastructure to keep things calm and under control, reducing panic and managing reactions. The operation focused on systems, limiting community risk while tackling harm quietly overnight. Over 600 arrests showed success, but small groups kept pushing boundaries. Teams stayed on their toes, tracking signals and patterns without missing a beat. This phase was all about adapting and staying ahead. Patience was key, not force. Control came from keeping things unpredictable. Making choices tougher for those on the move. Instead of celebrating, teams stayed focused. Treating the operation as ongoing, this approach meant enforcement didn't just react but actively pressed on, keeping the pressure up nationwide. The operation focused on logistics, finances, and personnel to make things smoother. This teamwork helped everyone adapt under pressure, showing that smart planning could beat violence and bring control instead of fear. It was all about taking charge to tackle crime networks effectively. Navigating legal systems and the supply chain was tough. There was a lot of uncertainty, but people kept pushing through. They had to blend in and trust the systems to stay under the radar. Now, with awareness guiding them, teams were ready to track what was still moving, shifting focus to the materials and how they were all connected. A quiet warehouse in Illinois turned into a huge deal. Feds found not just drugs but a whole global network. This isn't just street stuff, it's a national crisis. Supply chain security is a big deal. Even if we catch suspects, the threat doesn't just vanish. Gaps in logistics let new networks pop up, hiding behind legit businesses. One operation might go down, but another can sneak in fast. That's why tackling these issues is super important. Reclaiming America isn't just about victories, it's a wake-up call and a test of our strength. Stay tuned to the hidden battles where crime, security, and power clash. So, here's the big question. Do these campaigns really bring back order, or do they just reveal deeper issues lurking beneath the surface?